What's going on, everyone? Sneaky Mofo here, and today I'm bringing you a Project Zomboid Beginner's Guide, Part 1, with menus and things of that nature. So I'm just going to hop right in here and try to help those of you who were either kind of confused by the menus, or you just want to get a good start on the game before perhaps purchasing it, which, by the way, I highly recommend. This game has been a ton of fun so far. Okay, so I'm going to start off right here as if I'm playing from scratch. I like survival, so I'm going to go for that. And I'm just going to delete this world here. And I'm going to create a new world. Click New to create a new world. You can name your world here. Let's name it YouTube. And then you can choose one of these places to spawn into. I'll choose this one here. Click Next. Alright, if you're just starting off, I would recommend not customizing your character very much because you're likely going to die very quickly, and then die a few times after that while you're really learning the ropes of the game. So maybe not, but per my experience, what I've seen from most people starting off or whatever, yeah. So you can just randomize really quickly if you want, try to find something close, and then we will go to Next. Alright. On this page, you can choose some traits to give yourself. Okay, I like the construction worker because I like the thick-skinned trait and the handy trait. Last I checked, some of these traits actually aren't implemented yet, so I personally don't worry about doing these. But basically, whenever you go to choose any of these traits to add on, your points to spend has to equal 0. So if you give yourself a trait of luck, right? Now I need to spend -4, or just basically don't pay attention to the negative and positive, just pay attention to the color of the number, and then you have to pick ones here that either equal that number or exceed that number, and then you'll have to keep doing whatever balancing act you need to get it to 0, right? So if I wanted luck, I would need to do maybe hearty appetite and short-sighted to get that back to 0. Alright, so I'm just double clicking those things to move them over. Alright, I'm going to get rid of those. I'll just choose my class here or occupation, and then I'll go play. Alright, so alright, this can take a second to load, so I'll be right back in a moment. Alright, back now. Game's loaded. And the first thing I want to discuss is in the upper right hand corner here, you have your time, which is in a 24-hour based format. Okay, so you'll see 1600 hours and things like that. Alright, you got your month and the day, and you can keep up with things like that because later on in the game, if you get really into it and you're planting crops and you're doing these things where the time and date really matters, you'll want to keep up with that. Okay, this is a control of time. Alright, so I can pause the game here, and this really comes in handy because if you're playing in your own single player world, and let's say you're on Skype with a friend, or you're out somewhere and someone walks up to you and they're talking to you, you want to pause the game because just standing in the game without it paused, you can end up getting bored in the game. That's an actual like status boredom. Or you'll go hungry, you'll go thirsty. All these things are constantly detracting as you're doing certain things in the game. Alright, so get used to pausing. Okay, there's a lot of reasons that you'll want to pause. Play just resumes play. Okay. These three fast forward time. Alright, so if you're sleeping, because you need to sleep, if you're sleeping, you can fast forward through that, to make it go quicker for you as the player. This one goes like really super fast. You want to watch out with this one because the first time I ever clicked this one, I mean, really quickly I ended up with all these negative status attributes that pop up over here, these things called moodles, which I'll discuss as they start showing up. So that's your control of time right there. Okay, now let's go to menus. Alright, now the first thing I want to cover with that are things that I thought were bugs or glitches. Alright, somehow whenever I first installed the game and played it and whatnot, alright, whatever resolution I had it at, there's a recommended resolution, which if you have that, these menus will be a lot larger on the screen. Okay, but somehow I had this menu on top of this menu, And when that happens, the menus interact through one another. Alright, so even though there's nothing in my loot menu, alright, I can still see stuff for the menu behind it, which is kind of a bug. And I was just getting really frustrated because I was like, why is this happening? Somehow I had dragged this over. Alright, so I just keep them like that. Keep them separated. Okay. So, to bring down the menu, you just hover over the bar and it comes out. Alright, move your mouse down, click out here, it goes away. Alright, what controls that? Why are these menus going away, but this one is clearly staying? See this little pin here in the upper right hand corner? Alright, you can click that and it goes to the pin. That's what makes the menus fly away. Alright, so if you actually want them to stay out, you can click that to be that little icon, and then everything will stay. Alright, so click that like that. I actually like to keep this one out at all times. Alright. Next thing. These numbers here. 1 of 8, 0 of 50. Okay. This is the total amount of weight that you can carry. Alright, so this is a total of 8 pounds. I can carry 8 pounds worth of stuff. Alright. So this is my main inventory. Alright, I can only carry 8 pounds worth of stuff, which I will demonstrate in a moment. I just want to go through everything with the menus, okay? James Woods' inventory, that just tells you that that's my main inventory, as opposed to this one being the loot menu, which is as we walk up to cabinets and the refrigerators and things like that, we'll see them pop up along this bar over here, and then we can see what's inside of them. Alright, so you got your title of your menu. You can close your menus, which if you want to bring them back, you can click this, you know, that makes everything disappear, come up. Same for the health one here. Alright, so if those ever go away, that's all you need to worry about doing is clicking those. Okay. Alright, last thing, hit V on your keyboard, everything goes away. I accidentally did that at one point and didn't know what I pressed, and I was just like, what did I do? It's V. Alright, so if everything ever goes away, there you go. Okay. Moving onward here, these two things here basically expand and compress everything that you have in your inventory. Alright, or in this menu here, this has them as well. So let's say I have 10 pairs of pants. I've looted 10 pairs of pants, and I've looted 3 pairs of shoes, and I want to see those fly out real quick. I can click this button right here, which if I had 10 pairs of pants, you would see pants, 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 right? 10 times. That can be good because let's say I have 3 golf clubs, okay? 3 golf clubs, and one of them is significantly damaged, one of them is less damaged than that, and one is new. I can quickly see which one of those golf clubs is which, and then I can equip or repair or do whatever I need to do to see those individual things. Okay, so if you have multiple things that you need to do things with, you can make everything fly out quickly like that. You click this other button, it makes everything retract. Alright, so that's what that does. Next, type. You can click type, which basically sorts everything alphabetically. Alright, A to Z, whatever you have in your inventory. You click type, and that's how you can sort that stuff. Category, things have categories: clothing, weapons, items, food, things like that. So let's say I just went on a massive looting run and I have bags filled with crap, and I want to quickly put all food items in a refrigerator. I can go in my inventory here, or I'll show you in a little bit as you like equip bags and things like that. You can sort quickly. I could specify all the food items. I could click and drag all those things into the fridge. Okay, so that's basically category and type. All right, and then for each of the items in your inventory, or if we were looting something, all right, like let me walk up to something real quick to show you an example of what could be looted. Pause the game. All right, so here, all right, I have walked up to the spot, and what's near me right now are these 2 cabinets and the stove, and this icon represents the floor. Okay, you can drop things onto the floor and pick them back up. So that's what that is. You always pretty much see the ground or the floor, whatever. Alright, so basically, here we have multiple items in these cabinets, okay? And each item has its own attribute, all right? So pants weigh 1, all right? And these items have a temperature as well, all right? So your character can get cold, it can get hot. If it gets hot, like if I have the hot modal pop up over here, I can right-click on my pants and say, well, actually the game is paused, so you can't equip and unequip while it's paused. So let me press play here, right-click. Now I can say unequip my pants, right? Things like that. So every item has its own thing that whenever you right-click on it, it can do something, all right? So, yeah. And once again, with these blue arrows here, they basically perform individually, like if you just wanted to mess with one item. It basically does what this does, except on a per item basis. Alright? So, an example is, let's say I want to cook something. I want to cook this instant popcorn. Alright? I can click the stove here, I can say turn on, or you can right click on the actual stove or whatever. Let's hit play here, right click, turn on. Alright, now I can take popcorn, and because I'm standing near the stove, it's popping up here. If you're not standing next to a stove and the icon doesn't pop up here, then you might have to take instant popcorn, click on it, drag it into your inventory, okay, and then I could drag it into the stove. But because the popcorn is in this cabinet by the stove, which I can see here, I can just click and drag instant popcorn over the stove. All right, it's really easy to maneuver things into, you know, wherever you need to put things. All right, so now that we've got that going, we've got the stove on, the popcorn is in the stove, all right, it's cooking. You want to watch it really closely because popcorn will burn really quickly. So boom, it's already burning. We click and drag it out, turn off the stove. When you click and drag over quickly, you'll see that it still shows burning, but it's not actually burning, okay? It just needs to switch back to its nutritional value or whatever. So yeah, just get used to clicking this and understanding the status of items and things that you can do with specific items, okay? So there are recipes and certain things that you can do with specific things. Like for instance, this garbage bag here. Later on in the game, you can create these contraptions. You can craft these contraptions that catch rainwater, and you need garbage bags for that. However, garbage bag also doubles as a bag that you can carry stuff in. All right. So you see capacity of 20. So what I can do is move this bag over into my inventory. Alright. And it didn't move over because the game is paused. Alright. There we go. Alright, so the bag, it kept the action in mind, but once I unpaused it, then it did it. So I can right click on that bag and say equip secondary. Alright. Which this is your secondary here. Alright, secondary is good for things like bags, flashlights, candles, things of that nature, okay? It's not really for you to have a weapon equipped here and a weapon equipped here for dual wielding or things like that. So basically you could also have a bag in your primary as well, and then there are like school bags or hiking bags that you can put on your back. You could have a total of 3 bags equipped on you, which is really good if you want to like move stuff from one base of yours to another, or you want to go on this huge looting run for food or something like that. So just be aware that you can equip bags. Once you equip bags, you'll see them appear over here. Okay, so this shows that I can carry up to 20 pounds worth of stuff in this bag. Alright, so like this instant popcorn here, if I don't want that in my main inventory, I can click and drag that into the bag. Alright, and let me unpause the game so that actually happens. And there we go. So let's say I wanted to take a cooking pot and matches and a rolling pin. Alright, let's select the rolling pin. You can hold shift to click specific things, right? And then you can click and drag over to where you want it. Alright. You can click here and drag up to select all kinds of things, right? So they made that really easy for you to do. All right. Move that over there. And now we will go to the sink. Right click on the sink. Lots of things have their own little menus that you can do. Like this is a microwave, I can turn it on. This is a light switch, I can turn on and off the light switch. Right. So with this, I can drink water. See my little modal over here that said I was thirsty. Now I could drink water. That went away. Your status symbols will come up here as you get hungry. Right on time. Hungry. All right. So now I can go to where my food is, my popcorn. All right. Now, see how this says hunger -13, thirst +10? All right. So to eat this popcorn, it's going to reduce my hunger. Okay. But it's going to make me more thirsty, which I'm standing by a sink right now. The thirst part doesn't matter. So I'm going to nom all that popcorn. I right clicked on that. I chose eat and then all, right? And you can see it's green here. It says fed. So now I am going to drink water. And that combated the thirst element of that, all right? So here's the fridge, which sometimes things can get a little wonky as you're walking around, all right? So whatever is back here, however I get to that, in this room here, or maybe it's another room. Anyway, see how I can see this refrigerator? Like sometimes things, when you try to click on them, they won't work. With the refrigerator, there's nothing for you to click on to turn on or off or whatever. It's an inventory item like cabinets. So you would hover over this, right? You select your refrigerator, which you're standing by. We've got a mutton chop. It says dangerous uncooked. It's fresh uncooked mutton chop, right? So because I'm not standing near the stove like I was a minute ago, I want to just click and drag that into my inventory, right? Walk over to the stove, right click on it, right click on the stove, there we go. All right, I can turn that on. You don't want to leave stoves on because you can, if you leave something in there, it can burn down a house. All right, so you just really want to try to think of this game in terms of realism. So we've turned on the stove. We've got our mutton chop. We're going to throw it in the stove. All right, click that blue arrow. It'll take a minute before it starts cooking there. You start learning certain things take a little bit longer to cook than others, like that popcorn cooked really quickly. This takes a little bit longer. You can fast forward time. Alright, now it's cooking a little bit quicker. And you can do this with reading books, sleeping, all that good stuff. Boom, I'll click play again to go back to regular time. Let it finish cooking here, and then click and drag it into my inventory, or you can click and drag it into a cabinet or wherever you want to. Alright, boom, that's done. I'll turn off the stove. See how it says burning? It's just still waiting to switch over to this. Alright, so boom, I've got a fresh mutton chop here. Now, this cooking pot can be used to cook things in. Alright, this is one of the other things I want to discuss with the menu here. In your main inventory, get used to things being in your main inventory, okay? You won't be able to do a lot of things with items unless they are in your main inventory. Alright, so for instance, I can fill this cooking pot with water by right-clicking on this. Alright, it has to be in my main inventory for me to get the selection on the menu though. Okay, so I'm going to move the cooking pot into my main inventory. Alright, now it's there. Now I can right-click on the sink and say fill cooking pot. Alright. That's going to significantly increase the weight of the item. Okay? So I can go put the cooking pot of water in the refrigerator or something like that. The water and the power will eventually shut off in the game. Okay? When that happens, you want to have as much water as you can get. Alright? So pretty much everything you find, whether it's a mug, let's say you find a bottle of soda, once you drink it, it'll be an empty bottle. You can fill that with water. Yeah, so you want to try to collect as much water as you can. Alright? All this stuff is good stuff to take. Ooh, chocolate. Yes. Chocolate. Dry ramen noodles. Alright. There's a recipe for ramen so that you can make it to where it doesn't add to your thirst, but once again, look, right on time, hunger. I'm just going to right click on the ramen and say eat. Alright, it's going to add to my thirst. Just go back to the sink and drink that stuff. Alright, so basically what I've covered here so far, that's the main premise of your menus. Just get used to, you know, you can walk around and have your mouse selected on here, and as you walk up to cabinets and things, you'll see like the cabinet, like this bookshelf, see how it popped up here? I click on that, I can see what's on it. Cooking for beginners, perfect. Books, I won't discuss all this stuff at the moment, but basically books, magazines, books that give you XP boosts, modifier boosts, whatever. Those are great to take with you, especially if you're rolling around in a server with a friend. So yeah, just get used to that. Get used to walking around, interacting with your menus, clicking and dragging things over, handling things in different ways. Get used to the things that you can actually right-click in the world to do things with versus what you need to actually walk up to and interact with it this way. Okay, so like a normal hiking bag, this is great. I can click that over, put it into my main inventory. Okay. Right-click on it and put it on my back. Boom. All of a sudden, I have a bag in my secondary, and then I have this bag that I can move, let's say, even slightly heavier things into, alright, into that bag there. So I can move things in between my inventory, all the items I'm carrying, things like that. Rolling pin, it's a weapon. I can equip it as my primary. And when you have things equipped, and when you're wearing clothes, okay, the weight doesn't matter. The weight in your inventory goes away. If I unequip these pants, the weight number here will go up, because now I'm holding the pants. I'm not wearing them. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes whenever you go to equip certain things, you might see that suddenly your weight has increased dramatically, and you're like, why did that happen? Well, maybe something auto unequipped because you equipped something in both your primary and secondary, like an axe or a sledgehammer or something like that that utilizes both hands to really have its full effectiveness. Alright? So I'm going to wear those pants again. Alright? School bag. Alright? Carrying capacity of 15, but its weight reduction is 60 versus this garbage bag, which has a carrying capacity of 20, but the weight reduction is only 10. All right, so you can make little trade-offs like that. You know, we'll carry slightly less in here, but its weight reduction is considerably more. All right, so yeah, the last thing that I want to discuss is over here. Alright, this is where you can see the status of your body, your character, your skills, and info about your character. The info part is just for you. How long you've survived for. Let me hit pause here. How long you've survived for, how many survivors you've killed, how many zombies you've killed. Survivors, I think that's just for now, perhaps in multiplayer servers with PvP. And at some point, they're going to be integrating non-playable characters, which I don't know if you can kill them or not, or what they're going to be. But anyway, you've got that. Your skills, this is as you do things, as you kill zombies, as you cook food, as you forage, as you plant things. Just whatever you do in the game, it gives you XP. Okay? And so you build up these skills. Alright, so like cooking. I've cooked a couple of things. I've got 20 XP for that so far. Alright? That one book that I found initially, Cooking for Beginners. Alright? See where it says this book gives you an XP multiplier for the level 1 skill. Okay? This is level 1 right here. This column. This is level 1 of each of these skills. Level 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So, if I read this Cooking for Beginners, it gives me an XP multiplier for the level 1 skill of cooking, which means, alright, as you read a book, you can read a third of the book and it will give you a one-time XP boost. If you read half of it, or I'm sorry, 2/3, you get a 2-time XP modifier. If you read the whole thing, you get a 3-time XP modifier, which would be indicated by some arrows next to the skill pointing here. Alright? So, basically it gives you a really quick way to level up a skill of that level. Okay? This here, this is what incentivizes you to really take this game beyond just running around looting stuff and hoarding and trying to eat and drink and survive. Okay? You want to take it beyond that, man. You want to really build your character's attributes. And when you die, you die. You have to start a new character over. Alright? So, this just really gives you a reason to try to seriously survive. Alright? This last thing, health here, if you get bitten or scratched, or let's say you busted out a window and you crawled through it and you got glass shards in you, this will show you a specific point or specific points on your body where you're damaged. You can right click on those points and you can say like apply bandage or rub with alcohol or do this, do that. You can do certain things if you have those things in your main inventory. I can't stress that enough. Please remember, you need to have things in your main inventory for most things in this game to operate properly in terms of, you know, being able to utilize like this menu to right click and apply a bandage to a wound. If that bandage is in your secondary inventory, you won't see the option to do it. You got to have it in your main inventory. Let's say you want to craft something. You need to have a hammer in your main inventory. Then when you right click on the ground, you'll see the option to build something. Alright? So just remember, main inventory, very important. Alright? That's just the quick and dirty. This video went on just a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but I really wanted to cover this stuff, alright? In the next video, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to really go into Moodles and some other things, specifically with items and recipes and things of that nature. So, thanks so much for watching this. Go check out the next video. Please give me a thumbs up, rate it, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will just see you guys in the next video, alright? Take care.